Perfect. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited you're here. If you have not filled in an account with Ustream and you're on Ustream, you'll want to do that because we're going to ask some questions soon, and I want you all to be able to answer them on the chat. Versus other times when we have been on classes together, I'll ask that you not use the chat until we get to the portion of the call where I specifically ask for answers. So, welcome everyone. It's so nice to be with you tonight. And yeah, let's just take a moment. I love to take a moment by starting by just closing your eyes and just relax for a moment. And let go of all of your worries about the day. Let go of needing to know any answers to anything. Let go of expectation. And just allow your breath to relax you. And know that we are all here so that each of you are successful. And just one more deep breath. And let's dive in. So, a few pieces of business I'll address before we start the content for the class tonight. First of all, I'd like you to know the online forum. If you have not signed in there, you'll want to do that because one of the key components to this class are the bonds and relationships that you will form with other people who are in this class. They are the people who will promote you via social media. They are your JV partners. They are your affiliates. And truly, by using the online portion of our course, you will be able to connect with people, and you will find that your sales will naturally expand simply from doing that. Also, the techniques that are needed in order to be on there are very much the same techniques that you'll be using in social media, so it's a great little try it out kind of ground to make sure that everything is working correctly. Additionally, there is going to be a free class this weekend, so I have posted that on the Ning site, and you can go there to see exactly what's cooking. And you are welcome to join me on Saturday. We are doing a free Q&A. So bring your questions from this week, bring your questions from whatever you would like about social media, and I'm more than happy to answer them. You are more than welcome to post that on the wall of your Facebook page, to tweet it, anything you'd like to, in order to let people know. It is always, I find, wonderful to share information with folks because, especially if it's free, they love you. So I'm just checking one last thing. I want to make sure that we are all here together on the same page, and then we are going to dive in. You'll want to grab a pencil and a piece of paper because this is going to be content rich. And hold on one moment. The 6 minutes that we've spent doing this, we will certainly make up. Just want to make sure on the first night that everyone's been able to log in. Okay. Perfect. So here we are. Great. So if you're listening to the recording, absolutely feel free to come to the free class on Saturday. The answers to the questions that we are asking, you are welcome to provide them at another time also. Simply put them in the forum. I will be in touch with you there. If you ever have questions specifically regarding the course, you can always email support@coachlindsay.com. That's lindsay.com. You'll receive answers within 24 hours. So I'm going to go over some of the basic agreements for the class before we begin. And some of these may be interesting for you, and some of them may be thought-provoking, and that's absolutely what we want to do here. We are here for big transformation. You are here and have made a commitment of time, of money, of energy to increase your income, to increase your social media presence. All of these things are crucial. So I want to make sure that we really lay the foundation for that. And some of this will also be posted in the online component so you can remember some of these things, because I find that these really are the bedrock that success is built on. So first off, I've written some of these down, so I've got them. I will challenge you. I come from a career as a coach, and I will say that it is always very interesting for me to see, no matter what the tool is, how we get in our own way or where we struggle with things. So I will always be extraordinarily loving. You can speak with any of my clients or anyone that I have coached in the past. You have my heartfelt desire for you to do well, and I will work just as hard as you do on it. However, it is important to be open. It's important for me to be open. Feedback is always welcome. I think it's crucial. And in terms of speaking of work, the other thing you really want to know also is there is work involved in this class. It's not lots of work. It's not the kind of social media work that you've been doing or that you think you might have to do, but the energy that you put into this experience is absolutely the energy that you're going to get out of it. So what you'll want to revisit constantly, especially if you have resistance come up, is how committed am I to my success? And I will keep asking that question, and you really want to stay mindful of that, because I'm extraordinarily committed to your success. And I want you to be there with me. I want you to succeed. Additionally, in the online component, you're going to want to ask other people questions. One of the things that we don't often do in social media is the transparency that people really are wanting from us involves asking things. So especially in the online forum, which is private, other people that are not in this can't see it, you really want to ask for feedback. You want to lovingly give feedback to people. And you really want to, people grow better in groups, so you really want to be in a community with these folks. You will find that any single person in this community can refer you more clients and give you more business than probably any one customer you have will. So it's crucial that you bond. It's crucial that you look at other people's target markets. It's crucial that you respond to the people that you feel a heartfelt connection with, because those are the things that really create sales. So I don't really have any rules, but the one thing that I will say is that sales will thrive in an abundant, creative, positive environment. So I will first challenge you to remain in the yes. Sales is all about finding yeses. You will hear me talk about it a lot. It's simply about not getting a no. And sometimes that's a little tricky. Sometimes it's a little hard to continue to ask. However, being in the yes is the only place that the sale can happen. If you never go out there and let someone know that something's for sale, if you never ask for the sale, all of those things will equal no sales. So it's really important that we stay out of negativity whenever we can. So I will even ask you respectfully in the forum to stay solution-oriented, to stay in the yes. If you can't figure out something, if you're feeling frustrated, if something is not making sense to you, ask the other people who are there for help. I certainly will be chiming in on the forum and giving information. But these are key things. They may sound sort of esoteric and out there, but I promise you, anyone who is really fulfilled and is doing sales as part of their life has some sort of positive, abundant, global view. There are plenty of people who are doing really well that are not happy that is not the case for, but this course could be like how to make massive happy sales via social media. So the last sort of base piece that I want to let you know is this, that I really want to empower you to start to take on the way of thinking that I will teach. So, I am the leader here. You're welcome to ask me questions. However, the other piece of this is that if you can start to think in the sales way that I'm teaching, if you can start to, when I've coached people before, this was exactly who I was. When I would have coaches, I would absolutely always ask them how to do something. And they would say to me, well, if you were me, what do you think I'd say? And I would know the answer like that. So the more that you are able to start to change the way you think in terms of sales and social media, the more you will get out of this class after the 8 weeks are over. And that I can only really wish for you. I find, we live in a day and age where instantaneously you have an international audience that is limitless. 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. You didn't have access to so many people. You didn't have access to possible clients who had their guard down and would tell you what their objections were. It is such a fertile, amazing time to be making sales right now. The amount of change that you can create in the world is so easy. Like one tweet, your heart can be filled, your wallet can be filled, you can fill other people's wallets and hearts simply in interactions that are occurring on social media. So in the same way that I will talk about the exponentiality, I think that's it, of social media, sales are the same. When you think abundantly and you think about possibility, you will find that what comes back to you is more abundance and more possibility, and that's key. So let's talk technical social media. Enough with this sort of esoteric stuff. And then tonight what we're going to do is start tackling sales strategy for each of you. So first off, the technical aspects of social media. They can be baffling, they can be time consuming, they can be irritating. Twitter can freeze, Facebook can do an upgrade, constantly rules are changing, there can be bugs and things. Technology is huge, it is vastly different constantly, it's vacillating, it's enormous, it's hard to wrap your mind around. Like, I get it, I understand. And I would say that there are a portion of you who absolutely are here simply because the magnitude of the technology stinks. It's just hard and it doesn't feel comfortable and you don't get it. So this is the way that I want you to think of things, and I want you to trust me. There's a technology part that's over here, and there's the sales part that's over here. So I'm going to say something that is utterly surprising, and here we go. I'm going for it anyway. If technology is really something that you struggle with, unless you have decided to commit your life to being the most amazing technological social media person in the world, which the goals that I read in the forum, no one was looking to do that. Perhaps me, but no, the technical part isn't the part that I actually adore the most. So if the technology stinks for you, if it's really hard for you, if you don't understand it and it makes you want to pull your eyebrows out, hire a VA. You can find people on odesk.com for $3 an hour. You can find a college or a high school student who's off for the summer. You can find a nephew. You can find people on Craigslist. There are a multitude of people who understand the technology. Now, what they don't understand is the sales aspect of it and the strategy aspect of it. And you actually don't want someone who's like the most brilliant with I can get you to tweet 89 times a second kind of thing, because it's not about technology. I will say this repeatedly, and if you get nothing else, even if this just shakes the ground you walk on, social media is not a technology that you have to learn. It's simply a sales tool. Yes, in this day and age, it's the biggest sales tool that's out there. However, I'm sure there are plenty of people who actually don't even use social media and they're doing okay with sales. It's an option, and you've opted into that environment by being in this class. I trust that your instinct is to learn it. It is, there are just so many stories that I can tell you, and I'll try to stay more with the structure of how-tos and that sort of thing for this first part of the class. But the amount of change, healing, business force that's available to you in social media is magnificent. So yes, we will talk about the technical pieces. I think a huge part of social media, and one of the edges that I bring to it, is if you have cool, neat, attractive social media, then folks are going to be more interested in it. You create, it's all people who like social media that are in this pond. And a lot of them will just really enjoy if you start a live streaming show from your fan page, which is something that we will absolutely talk about. Are we going to go through the nuts and bolts of exactly what button to push? It's probably not the best use of any of our times. Certainly I'm happy to answer some technical questions. There are some things that need to be known. But if you are really struggling, I mean, for instance, in the chat, is there anyone here now who doesn't know how to do anything technical in terms of social media. Because I really want to make sure that I'm meeting your needs. That's my sense, because I found most of you on social media already. So, and this blows people's minds a lot. The idea that you're supposed to go spend a little money to get a little money. But at $3 an hour, if you are just really totally struggling, I will tell you exactly what to assign your VA to do. At $3 an hour, think of the amount of money that you could be making per hour. It is such a much better use of your time to be doing some of the other aspects of this course. And I get that this is a little bit like, woo! And if that's the case for you, feel free to email me at support@coachlindsay.com, but I figured I'd start big, and it's just the truth about it. You all aren't here to learn to be master technicians. Wouldn't you rather be like in your garden with your grandchildren, selling your product, making loads of money, or would you really be most interested in learning how to do, something blah, blah, blah. So the technical things that are key and that are cool and that are going to get you results, that's what we want to focus on. If I mention a technical thing that you know will get you results and you're not familiar with the technical piece of it, definitively email me. I will definitively email you easy instructions on it. There will be a multitude of other things that we will go through that I will put up in the forum that give you all of the details. But I wanted to cover this first because I think that the problem for a lot of people is they go, I'm not technical, and that's a comfortable place for them. And so then social media always gets to be a struggle. And I just want to take that struggle away from you. Like, let's make sales. Let's do what you came here to get done. I don't think that spending time for anyone who's not in social media, learning all the social media stuff, is probably ever the best use of your time. It's just innately not what you're meant to be doing. Okay, so got that out of the way, and no one has totally lost their mind yet. I love it. I love it. Or you're losing your minds and you're not telling me. And I'm going to keep going, and let me know if you lose your mind at any point. I'll help you find it. So some of the questions that we put in the forum are where I want to start as we talk about sales strategy. Because we talked about everyone will get a specific sales strategy, and without that, without a sales plan, forget it. It's like going to a foreign country and not having a map and being very certain that you want to get to the Eiffel Tower. It's going to take forever. It's going to be really difficult. Just being in France is probably not going to get you to the Eiffel Tower easily. You can ask people, etc., but you get my drift. So this is where we're going to start. What is your passion? And here's a resource for everyone that I'll actually type into the chat. There is an amazing, I love giving people their due respect, and I enjoy it, and it's a brilliant thing for you all to learn. Like, if you're taking notes, I would actually say that's probably one of the extra credit notes, that if you can give people notice and respect and love anytime you can via social media, your social media presence, the energy behind the people who support you, and the growth of your company are going to go out the roof. I never knew that. It's naturally who I am, and it has been amazing in terms of what's come back to me. So let me give some love to thepassiontestonline.com. That's thepassiontestonline, ONLINE.com. You can go there. It's $1 for a 30-day trial. They have some great little questions. It boils it down to really what's your passion. Now you may say, like, I have gardening gloves to sell. What are we talking about passion for? If you get these things in alignment, then absolutely your sales are going to expand. If you are doing something now that you hate doing every day, I promise you we can find something you love doing every day, and you can make a load of sales from it. Maybe even faster than someone who is loving what they're doing and progressing along nicely. So if you are carrying around the dead weight of a product or a service that stinks, like today is your big window full of air and light that we are going to take you through, and life is going to get so much better. So go to the Passion Test Online, figure out the things that you're passionate about, puts them in a list of 5 different things. You don't have to do the full thing. It's wonderful if you want to. I don't know that in terms of this class it would be most time effective to do everything in there this week, but check out the passion test online, or just feel in your gut into what you're really passionate about. If you were on the call earlier this week, we talked about this a bit, so you may be really clear on your passion. But that's the first thing to be really clear on, and you don't need to know anything yet except what that is. So really contemplate that for yourself. And again, some people are paper and pen people, some people are not. I would suggest some of this stuff you write down. So I would jot down your passion if you know. Next question, what is your mission? It's a very LA word. I lived in New York for 20 years prior to moving here a year ago. And we talked about jobs. Now it may be that I've just made a big change, but what's your mission? What is the thing that you're committed to? What is it that your product is changing in the world? What is it that your service is really committed to? I'm going to borrow one from our forum. Someone wrote that their mission is to help women become comfortable with sex and their own sexuality, help them to create deeper and more meaningful relationships with their partners. The combination of these two will create women who are happier, more confident, and more centered in their lives. I also want to help women gain more financial freedom through business ownership. Now, I'm going to go through specifics, and I want you to know that it is all meant simply for the greatest transformation for you. I am not picking on anyone. You all can probably look at my website. I know you can look at my website and find flaws. You'll look at my social media and you'll find things that are wrong with it. Feel free to give me feedback. I am game. But what I will say about this is, first off, let's just take the first part. The also part of helping women gain more financial freedom. Let's just move that over to the side for right now, because what we want to do is get really streamlined and clear, and then once we pick a passion, a mission, and a goal for you, you can apply these same techniques over and over. So for an example, let's just take the first part of the mission. And a way to know if it's a mission or not is also, like, if you were in the grocery store, is it something that you would want or care about? And perhaps you wouldn't say something about sexuality to the woman in line behind you, but perhaps you would. Is it something you read about? Is it something that, I'm just going to say it, The Vein of Gold exercise, and that's Julia Cameron, and I don't know, it's a book, and it's just like a 5-question thing. But let me give a little love for Julia Cameron also. She talks about people's themes in their lives, and oftentimes it really comes out of pain, and a lot of times pain ends up being our greatest teacher. So your mission, after figuring out your passion, it's just key to have these things in check. Then let's go to the goal. And this is the thing that really struck me the most from people who responded in the forum. So I want to spend a little bit of time on this. And you know what? I'm going to backtrack for just a moment to our missions also. Because I think that you'll find yourself having to go back to this over and over again if it's not in alignment. So if you know all of these for yourself, bear with me. We will certainly be moving on to things that I promise you don't know shortly. But I just want to make sure that we all really are on the same page about it. And the other piece of this to know is that this is really, and this is the like bonus round social media stuff also, putting your passion on the page will get more responses, it will get more people who will not block your feed, it will get more followers, it will get more people who will retweet you. They love you when you talk about your passion. The next day they'll show up at your Facebook event and say yes. I put something up today about planning my wedding. That has nothing to do with what we're doing here. Like 30 people liked it, and I got all of these comments. It blew my mind. People that I assumed have hidden my feed, all sorts of everyone is like thrilled and in love with the idea of me getting married. So if you talk about your passion, and it's, don't think that what Lindsay said was, I sell handbags, I love chocolate chip cookies, go talk about chocolate chip cookies all the time. That's not the case. But what you're going to start to find is that all of these things reside in a similar area. So stick with me, and I'm sure it will make more sense shortly. So if everybody will just close their eyes for a moment. And when we were talking about mission, we were talking about pain. That a lot of times you're here to solve someone's pain. And this is a very basic sales technique. You figure out what their pain is and you offer a solution for it. One of the most basic sales techniques ever, and it's a key one to tune into. So for instance, I know that Pamela, who's a member of the class, sells a pillow that's an aromatherapy pillow. It's, and I'm not even going to be able to say all the great things about it, so Pamela, please in the forum let everyone know all the wonderful things about it. But it provides a solution for people who really want to be eco-friendly. It's made with all wonderful natural materials, for people who want to sleep well, for people who could be concerned about aging in their face, all of those things. And so there's a very specific pain. And even if you want to grab your pen or pencil and jot down what is the pain that you solve for people, I think that's really key. And even for a moment, just to switch roles for a second, I want you to think about, and this may seem really odd, but go with me. It works, I promise. I've been doing this for 20 years. What was the pain that brought you to this class? And I think it's really important, and something I see quite often, is that a lot of times, just human condition is we want to be out in the world and we want to look like we're doing well, we want to look like we're not struggling. All of that aside, and you don't need to tell me, you don't need to put it in the forum, you're welcome to, but is the pain that you have massive debt, and if you don't make it in this business, then you're gonna you don't know what you're gonna do. Is the pain that you hated your last job and you really don't want to work for someone else again, and so you're really, really wanting to be extraordinarily successful in what you do now so you're not in that position? Is the pain that you're in just that social media is so frustrating that it makes you want to cry because the technical part of it is really hard? Whatever that pain is, I just want you to tune in to that. And even, you know, I'm gonna ask you to be brave, and I'll consistently do the same, and you can always ask me to be brave also. I would challenge you to put up in the forum what it is that the pain is that brought you to the class. And this is twofold. First off, I can make sure that I'm meeting your needs, because you are supposed to be here, and you are supposed to be my client, and I am supposed to help you. And so I want to make sure that I'm not teaching the class that would work for a group of other people. Additionally, a number of the things we'll do in the class are exactly what you want to do in social media. So you can go on your Facebook page tonight and you can say, for instance, for Pamela, for those of you who have used my pillow, you might want to start with something soft, like what's the solution that's been provided for you? If you sell coaching and you're transforming people's lives and you speak on that level all the time, you might, like Kathleen Lorden, who's in the class. She transforms women's lives. She can tell you better than I can what she does, but particularly with money. So it would be absolutely appropriate on her Facebook page tonight to say, what is the pain that you have around money? And this is a key lesson, because if Kathleen Lorden had a store and was selling coaching products and somebody walked in off the street, she would never be able to say, what's your pain? It would be so weird and odd. Just culturally, it would be very jarring to have someone walk up to you and do that. Now, she might do it. She's a ballsy woman, and maybe it will work. She's a brilliant salesperson. But most often, the cultural norm would dictate that you've got to say hi to them, you've got to talk about stuff, and it may take like an hour before they really tell you what their pain is. People are sitting at home behind their computers and more than happy. Like if right now I asked on the chat for people to tell me what their pain was, there's a comfort level that we have grown into where we'll say stuff on Facebook, we'll say stuff in this chat, we'll type it. It's harder even to do teleclasses because people won't chime in as much there, so there's another little bonus social media tip for you. Doing Ustream, doing Vocal, doing any of the technologies that let you be face-to-face with people and allowing them to type at the same time, you will absolutely connect with your target market very quickly. I can't recommend it enough. I don't even care if you're not prepared for it. Like if you do a Ustream class tomorrow night, or maybe the night, maybe like, I would say actually Tuesday nights are a great night to do it because you'll get people. If you put it up now, and you did it on Tuesday, you'll get so much information from people, you'll be astounded. And connection, quick connection. So, back to what's your mission? You've got your passion, you've got your mission, and then what's your goal? There were a couple of things that I loved that people posted. That was funny. Pamela actually wrote for her business, her goal is to make a lot of money. That's a quantifiable goal, and I would say maybe we want to know exactly how much money by when. But if you don't have a specific sales goal, you're never going to reach it. It's just not going to happen. In the same way that if you don't have a target market list, you're never going to find anyone. And it's never going to be the people on your target market list that buy, I promise. Your target market will astound you, and we're going to cover more of that in the latter part of this class and the next class. But for now, this is where we really want to go. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200 until you get the piece of it that is this. Your goals need to be succinct. They need to be dollar-based, unless you're a spiritual leader and you're simply wanting to reach a mass of people, or if you... And it doesn't have to be dollar-based, but I would say since the focus of this is sales, and most of us are in business for ourselves, it's going to be best if you put it into a dollar value. And when you think about it, I also want you to think of some other key things, because I think that these are areas where we really get remiss in terms of really creating genuine abundance for ourselves. I want you to look at things like taxes. I want you to look at things like, do you have health insurance? I want you to look at things like debt, savings. Your sales goal may shock the heck out of you. You may need so much more money than you thought, and you may not have any idea how to get it. But what I will tell you is that we can do it. If you've got a huge, the point is to simply be real about it, to get it on paper and get committed to it. And so I would recommend that in the forum, everybody go in and reamp their goals so they are very specific. Some of the goals that were there were things like to gain more exposure, interact more personally with my online shopping customers, and increase traffic and ultimately sales via social media. Yes, but if we're really if you want to build a house, if you really want to get stuff done, you really have to have a plan. So sales strategy, first and foremost, you must have a sales goal. And I want you to really look at your numbers from everywhere that you can compile so that you can figure out, and if you're not able to do that, there are plenty of resources that can help you with that sort of thing. And this is where the JV, like helping one another kinds of thing, I know that if you post in the forum, I can't figure out my numbers, that Kathleen most likely is going to offer you a little help. Now, we are not here to like gift each other services and that sort of thing, but you may be able to provide the pillow that she needs to sleep on so she looks lovely. You know, that is what social media is. I never go on anyone's wall and post, do you need social media help? That would be absolutely, utterly insane. First of all, you don't want to out someone like that. It's really not appropriate. You would probably want to send them an email rather than just posting it somewhere. It's not polite to go on other people's walls and just post things, in case that's not something you're familiar with. And social media is all about, just imagine people in your home. You really want to authentically treat people in the same way that you would in your home. And so if you're hanging out in Kathleen's home and you have a question about numbers, she might, if she chooses to, talk to you a little bit about numbers. You probably then would reciprocate in some way and talk about something else. So that's exactly how social media works. If I see someone whose social media is struggling, like if I see someone who has an account that's hacked, I will always send to them, it looks like your account was hacked. How can I help? And I have people who will call me late at night, will give me their passwords for their accounts, will fix it. They don't become a client, but I get referral business from them. Actually, the people that I've actually gotten business directly from those folks. My intent was not to do it that way. But you need to really think about sales and social media. Think about if they were in my home and they were hacked, how would I handle that? So, get clear on your numbers. Get clear on a sales goal, and I would ask you to give it a time-limited value. So I would ask you to take a look at like the next 3 months. What you start in social media now, you'll find a couple of months later will really impact you. I always had a rule when I did real estate that I could tell exactly what the actions were I'd taken 2 weeks before based on the results I was getting today. If I put an ad up for a condo 2 weeks ago and kept promoting it, then I'd be in it and like selling it today. If I put the ad up today, not going to happen. The trap that people fall in is they take the actions, they start to get the results, they quit taking the actions. 2 weeks after that, they've got no sales. So we're going to talk definitively about actions that you can take specifically so that you get consistent results. But I would say give yourself a 3-month goal, because 2 months in, after we finish the class, you're just going to be, the cream is going to be really at the top. For some of you, it might be faster. For some of you, it might be a lot faster. But certainly, I think a 3-month goal is really realistic, and throw that right on up on the forum. And I have to say also, I found this really interesting. And please know that okay, this is really key. If I were in this class, you'd get me one of 2 ways. Either not checking the forum, not doing the homework, late to the class, maybe listening to the recordings, and being disappointed. That's one way I do things. Or if I'm, the way that I've consciously corrected myself so that I do things is I really pay attention, I really show up on the forum, I really do the homework, I really, like all of those things, and they're measured things and actions that I need to take. And Ning.com is not the easiest thing to maneuver in the world. I promise you that. It just is not. God bless them that they're free right now. They're going to paid in July. God bless them for doing that also. But however you participate in this class, especially in the online forum, will be very much how you participate in social media. So if you don't have your picture up on Ning, I understand, because it's difficult and annoying. If you haven't put your picture up, though, just because you haven't put your picture up, then I would suggest that you realize that the people in this class on the forum for the next 8 weeks can make a dramatic increase in your income. Just your relationships alone with them, even if we did no social media, could totally change your business. So I would suggest that you get in there, you throw your picture up, you start talking to people, you throw your goal up, and really invest the time and energy. And it takes 5 minutes to do what I've asked you to do. It's not huge. Thinking about what your mission is may take a little bit longer than that, but I'm not big on like 89 test questions we have to do. But I will tell you, you're going to get a lot more out of the class if you practice on the people in this class, seeing what works and what doesn't work. The biggest challenges I see with people consistently throughout all of my clients in social media are, first of all, that they're afraid to be seen. And see if that resonates for you in your gut. I get it. I'll be on these classes all the time and I'll say something that I didn't really feel like saying, but I'll go ahead. If you've got issues with not wanting to post your business stuff there, being concerned about your personal profile versus your business profile, not wanting to accept friends if you don't know them, feeling like it's too gross or salesy if you put up a post with a link to purchase something, I'm just going to suggest that at a base level, there's either something that goes on with you about being visible and seen in the world, or perhaps there's something about success, because that's the other thing that will happen. There's some people who are not so worried about being visible, but it's like 8 times out of 10, when they get to the point where it could be really successful, then they'll step on their own foot. So just be aware that those might be possibilities in terms of what's going on. Maybe not, but I've seen it consistently in my practice. So one thing that I really loved was someone had written, "We have an excellent customer service record provided by our caring, friendly sales staff in clean and pleasant surroundings." Out of all of the goals that folks had written prior to me getting prepped for the class today, it was the only thing that anyone had written that was about relationship. And it was about a good customer service record. It wasn't even put in terms of, I really want to help people protect their children. I really want to protect the children of the world, even. So really what you need to think about in terms of your mission and your goal, get inclusive of your client base in it. Now, this is more a mission part than it is a goal part, because needing to make a certain amount of money in the third quarter, I want that really pared down. I want like a serious sentence that we can measure things by and we can get done. But when you look at your mission, I really want you to think about, I was at an amazing workshop recently. I'll put the link up. You guys are going to get so many resources. Kirk and Donnie are these two wonderful men who do all this amazing body work. And this is their website. I think they have a few others, but themissingthread.com. That's themissingthread.com is wonderful. And they talk about, if you're in sales and you're not thinking about how you can serve someone else, you have a massive problem, because sales really is service. And you really have to fill a need for people in order to have longevity and happiness in doing things that require people to give you money or barter or however you want to do it in your business. And so in your mission statement, I really want you to think about, who do I deeply desire to serve? And this starts to bleed over into target market, which we'll start to talk about a bit here also. You want to really think about the people that you're serving, and also make sure that you have the temperament to deal with those people. Are you, do you really want to help the people who have children with developmental needs? There might be a certain, people talk about psychographics, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you really want to be clear that you have the patience and tolerance and the wish to help those people that you're serving. These are the big questions. Trust me, once we get this foundation laid, the social media pieces are like bam, not hard at all. But the strategy that we're talking here is the same thing that we will repeatedly use in social media. So the more you understand these, you'll be able to go, oh, so when I post something on my fan page, my like page now, and I talk about, I'm so cool because I bought a new car with all the money I made from selling wrenches, no one really responded and my sales aren't growing, because it's very different than when I say, I just got this email from someone whose wrench perfectly fixed their grandfather's bench, and it made him think of when he was a boy, and he started crying, and he just was so grateful because he looked for a wrench like this for 20 years. I totally have chills. That's about serving people. And when you put posts like that up, you will have more business than you can stand. You will have more business than any other wrench maker. You will have more people who are loving you and on your page that don't even have to do with wrenches. So when people come, it's like having a full store of people. Like if you walk around a farmer's market or something and there's a stand with no one there, you don't want to really go there. If you go stand where everyone is, you assume that it's good. And so one of the things you want to create is a base of raving fans, a base of people that just love you. They probably won't even buy your product. But what you really want to start to do is think of your social media presence as a store. Like, this is my store. How do I want to decorate it? How do I want to deal with people? How do I handle customer service? All of these things are so transparent in social media. And if you're guarding yourself and hiding those things and just putting up things like, we have 6 wrenches for $20 this week, it's not going to connect with people in the way for you to get massive sales. Yes, you may get some sales, but we're not just looking for sales here. We're looking for massive sales. Massive sales. So, target market. I can't believe we only have 15 minutes. I could talk forever about these things. And I cannot wait to see your responses to these questions. I cannot wait to see your businesses after we're done with this. I can't wait to see my business. It's it just, being all together, what will change for all of us is mind-blowing. So, let me not forget to say this, and I'll certainly put this on the forum. You'll note that I didn't ask for anyone's social media anything to start with. Now that we've laid the foundation, I will ask for that. So I'm going to put it up in the forum, and whatever social media you have, here's the thing. If you know how to use Facebook and you like it, that's where we're starting. Because the idea that you need to get 5 other social media profiles going to have any results is insane. So whatever you have, that's where we're starting, and I'm going to have everyone post it, and I'm going to have you all start communicating with each other there also. Because you can be people's raving fans. You can absolutely, and as I get to know more of you, I will use more of your names. I apologize that I'm not using everyone as an example. It's just because there are some people I've known previously. But you can be raving fans for one another. You can cheer each other on. You can, and what that creates, the value that you're giving other people, because they're going to come cheer you on also. All of a sudden tomorrow you put up a post about, what does my target market need from me? And you've got 6 passionate responses from people in this course. Oh my gosh, just having that many people comment on it pops it up higher in top news. You're going to be more visible on Facebook. If you have people retweet, same thing on Twitter. If on LinkedIn, you have just anywhere where there's a lot of energy, you're going to get more energy. So we'll get that going also. And I would say, in a heartfelt way, really start connecting with each other. And here's the deal. All the other 89 things you've been doing in social media, you don't really need to worry about them right now. I'm not asking you to add a task. I'm giving you the very tasks that will make it expand like crazy. So if you're like, oh no, I have to go get 89 pictures of my dog on my page for tomorrow because it's Dog Thursday on my fan page, skip Dog Thursday this week. Go chat up 6 of the people in this class and talk about how excited you are and how much you support them and what resonated with, be careful in terms of etiquette. This is another thing that is just key to know, that in the same way if someone walked in your store, you probably wouldn't say, oh my gosh, you're an insomniac, I knew it, it's so awful, I'm so sorry for you, in front of other people. You don't want to out people. You want to see what people's level of comfortability is. Some of my clients will talk about, you have no idea, it's like so visible, it's wild. Other clients of mine will never start to do that. So you really need to respect the relationship that's there. So even just a like, even I would go bigger than that, but even a supportive, great post to start the relationship, engage the relationship, is also giving you practice for exactly how you're going to deal with your clients. So get in there with each other. Get in there on my page. I'm more than happy to. And here's the other thing. This is also key. If someone posts something that you hate on your page that reflects poorly on your brand, that is completely out of bounds of what's okay with you, you absolutely can delete it. You absolutely can address it offline with people. I think it's actually amazing that now people will tell you when they don't like your stuff, and at a certain point in this course, I'm going to recommend that you get input from people who don't like your things. You need to know. They already don't. I mean, I'm not going to send you the person who hates your stuff the most, but all of us have downsides to our company. Wouldn't you rather know what that is before they go tell 20 of their friends? Absolutely. But for now, start small. Come from your heart. If you don't like someone else in the class, don't go post that you love them on their page. Be authentic. Try to make friends. It's like all the lessons we learned in kindergarten. Those, don't hit anyone, Those are the basic lessons to start with in social media. So, target market, and this is what we're going to lead up to for next week. Loved this post in the forum. Target market is broken people who realize that a full, joyful, soul self-integration may be a possibility for them. What I love about that is it's not just broken people, but it's broken people that realize that there may be another possibility for them. That's really key. I will tell you that a lot of times for me, it's frustrating who my target market is not. People who need me, a lot of times don't want me. And there's a certain kind of something that goes on with me where I'm like, if they really are awful at social media and really, that may just be who they are and they're not interested in doing anything different. So what you really need to focus on is the people who can be available to what you're giving. So target market, love target market. This is your homework. Who has bought from you? That's your target market. Now, your target market is going to change and going to expand, and we are going to talk about how to do that next week specifically. But for right now, the target market we want to talk about is who have been your paying clients. If you are at a new business and you haven't paid yet, who are the people that you've gifted your product or your service to that have loved it? Then I want you to think about, what is it that you liked most about the experience with them? Is it that they didn't call you at 5 o'clock in the morning on the phone? Is it that they wrote you a thank you note and they're very appreciative? Is it that they paid a lot of money and it was not a difficult thing? So I also, in terms of target market, we're not talking like they're a certain age and a certain income level. Those things are important, but you're going to be blown away when you really pare it down. Who needs you? What do you need from them? Because if you have a target market of people who drive you crazy every day, it just, energy begets energy. Your sales are not going to go through the roof. You're going to get sick of your business and it's not going to go well, or you're going to have to like give it to someone else to do it. Who is the person who had the most transformation from working with you? Who is the person that got the wrench and it fixed their grandfather's bench and it brought them to tears? Who is the person that you changed their life? Who's the person you did the intervention for and now they're sober 5 years later? Who is that person that really was transformed by you? And then with all of that in mind, I want you to create like your ideal client. Now that can be someone, and that's awesome. Or it can be an amalgamation of like, she's nice. She sent me a thank you note. She was being abused by her husband prior and that was able to change. And she and I both like purple fingernail polish. Like that can be a favorite thing about you working with her. Those are the people who need you. Those are, I mean, purple fingernail polish, probably not, but really write down what your truth is. And if you've got a picture of that person, or if you can put those words up like above your computer, that's who we're looking for. So I'm going to take it to the next level to give you some tips for those overachievers. I'm so like all in or not in at all, unfortunately, in my life sometimes when I'm taking a class. So if I were all in, I would want to know, well, how do I get those people? So here's some tips. So let's say your ideal customer's name is Andrea. Where does Andrea eat dinner? If Andrea has money set to the side, what else might she buy besides stuff from you? It might be a subscription to a magazine, it might be new tires for her car, it might be whatever. Who are other people that they spend money on? Where did she get the purple fingernail polish? Where is she buying her clothes? Where does she go to church? Are all your clients vegan? And so you want to start looking around at those things, and you want to start listing those things. And then you want to go to those places, and those are your people. So if she buys Opie nail polish, and she's following them on Twitter, she loves them so much, then the people that are following Opie very plausibly might be your client also. They may not totally be, and I'm going really far out on a limb to demonstrate a point. They might need to wear Opie fingernail polish, be vegan, and also like disco music or something. But what we can start to do via Facebook, via Twitter, via LinkedIn to some degree, is you can start to suss those things out. There are more advanced tips for it, but what I would say right now, because I don't want to overload you, is just start thinking about like, where does my ideal client go on vacation? What kind of magazines does he read? How does he spend his free time? And then if you can pull that into businesses, or if you can pull it into causes, is your ideal client someone who's passionate about Haiti? Is your ideal client someone who has a political persuasion? And then I'll give you specifics on how to piece those things together. But that's brainstorming that I want you to have cooking this week so that next week we can be like bing, bing, bing. So the other thing that I would say is, I hate giving you homework, but this is important, and I think this is really like one of the most important pieces that you can do. I want you to pick 3 people who you really feel are your target market. Now, if they've bought from you already, especially if you've been in business for a while, pick them. Especially if you have hesitation about picking them, pick them. If you're new in business, think about, I don't want you to think of your friends. Your friends are generally not your target market for a myriad of reasons. But if you know someone's friend of a friend and they seem like, oh my gosh, they would totally buy my money financial reform program, I want you to pick 3 of those people, and I want you to just ask them if you can do like a 7-minute interview with them on the phone. I want you to call them, and I want you to ask them questions like, how was their experience working with you? What did they like? What didn't they like? If you've got a brand new business, then I want you to call and say, this is my brand new business. Can you take a peek at my website? What do you think of my product? I just want you to be honest. Now, the thing that you might not see in this, but is really true, is that these 3 people, quite frankly, might really end up buying from you. Also, these 3 people will tell you, like, your coaching packages stink. They're way too expensive. I would never spend that money first time out. Now, the disconnect can be one of 2 things. It can be that you've chosen a target market that's not really yours, like they didn't have enough money, but that's great information for you to know. You can cross them off the list of people you're going to pursue. Or they could be right. A lot of times your clients will be right, and it's one of the right, and one of the huge blessings of social media is doing things like sending out polls, all that other kind of stuff. Now, I've realized that this exercise will push people's buttons. It's big on the transparency list. It's big on the courage list. And it's absolutely the intent. And I don't want to do this at all. I'm so like this. I pledge that I will do the same thing, and I don't want to. But I will not ask you to do anything that I will not do. And post in the forum what kind of answers you get. It's going to blow your mind. All sales is about relationships. You all could be with 1 million different people learning social media and sales right now. 1 million different people. And you're here with me. And there's some reason for that. And the bonding that you do with people, the listening that you do from your clients, those are the things that are really going to allow your business to flourish. So, whoo, that's been a lot of information. Before we go, what I'm going to do is 2 things. If you have, because I do want to know how you're feeling and what you're thinking and that sort of thing. If it's a question about, like, should I use a fan page or a personal page, I'm just going to tell you we're not there yet. Because we're laying the groundwork for the stuff that's going to make your business skyrocket. And then we pick up the tool. It's like if you had a huge field and you didn't know which things were vegetables that you could eat, which things were flowers, which things you should keep, which things you could pull, and all you had was a lawnmower, and all you wanted to do was start the lawnmower and start riding around all over everywhere. It's not going to achieve the goal, especially like if somebody's going to give you $1 million for not running over dill. So that's the same thing. Don't worry about picking up the social media power tool right now, except for the things that I've suggested. Feel free to experiment with those. Those pieces are so simple, it's not even funny. The real brilliance of all of this is the strategy that's involved, and if you take nothing else from this, know that it's about relationships. You have to be social in social media. It just is simply the nature of things. And so we're going to work on that. It's like the social media etiquette school. So if you're on the chat and you've got a burning question, go ahead and throw it up there. And I realize that we're a minute over. We had started a couple minutes late. You're certainly all going to get the recording. So, and I'm going to undo the phone.
You are now muted.
And I muted myself.
Muting canceled.
So if anyone on the phone wants to press *6 to ask a burning question, feel free to do that as well. Got no questions on the chat so far. Anyone on the phone, you just press *6 and you can chime in. Okay. There's going to be a moment where there are so many questions. I know it. So, put on your seatbelt. I've sold like $25 million worth of stuff. Taught 200 people how to sell stuff. People pay me a lot of money to do their social media for them. I've got over 100,000 people that I'm connected with via social media, via my clients, and people are doing really well. This economy has nothing to do with any of that. So if this is unexpected and out of the box, I'm absolutely doing my job. If you have any resistance that's coming up, that's awesome. If it feels like you don't want to call the people, I feel ya. And if you're freaking out about the technical part, You can email me at support@coachlindsay.com. Most likely what I'm going to tell you is not to freak out or worry about it yet. But I'm really here for you. I really cannot wait to see what your goals are for 3 months from now. And it's like my mouth waters about goals. I will tell you this here's a little story and then we'll go. So I grew up in a teething town in the Midwest, and most moms were home at 3 o'clock with hot chocolate chip cookies. And my mother created a think tank and was out in the world, like reformatting the LA Times, flying to Greece, doing all sorts of massive, huge stuff, which was not the world that I lived in at all. But I saw her be courageous and get yeses. And I really learned from her that you just don't have to take no's. Some of my biggest clients have come from sending somebody an email that's heartfelt on Facebook and asking what I can offer them. And I blown away by the opportunities I've gotten from that. So we really are going to look for yeses here, and there are so many yeses. There are at least as many yeses as there are no's. And we are going to transform your business and hopefully your life, because these skills are really, and if you've heard it before, I won't keep repeating it, but I had no idea how to sell. I was the worst salesperson in the world, and someone trained me. God bless them. And this can be learned, and it's not that difficult. So go do your homework now. It's probably easier to do it now than it is to do it another day if you're like me. But anyway, that's my own stuff. So class is over. It's been wonderful. If you're not on the forum yet, check your spam folder because your Ning invitation should be there. Join me Saturday for the free class. Bring your questions there. The information on that is posted on the lower left-hand side of the Ning page. And I think that's it. I will post the other requests I have from you on the forum, like putting up your links to social media and that sort of thing. And you are in for an amazing ride. You are in for an amazing ride. And I am so, I was getting ready for the class today, and I just could not be happier to give you all this information. So I really, really, truly appreciate the opportunity. So have a great night. And one last thing I will mention quickly is that some folks are having difficulties with the class being on Wednesday. So if you can email me at support@coachlindsay.com privately there rather than through the forum or on my Facebook page about if there are nights that you cannot be on the call. We will start from there to see if we can serve the greatest number of people. So just send me the nights that you are not available, if that's all right, and we'll see if we can do this democratically. So that's it. I'm going to go hang out with my little meowing cat. Have a great night. Thanks.